So has your family noticed it's really hard to find any sort of disinfecting wipes right now when you're trying to disinfect everything and keep the house safe? And there's no real safe way of getting or ordering more of these. So today I'm going to show you a way we can make some of these using some household products. So here's the main thing I'm looking for in my house is some sort of disinfecting bleach solution. So the main ingredient, the active ingredient in this bleach solution is this NaClO chemical. So this NaClO compound is just this ionic compound made up of the ions sodium and hypochlorite. So the active ingredient in here, this bleach, is really the sodium hypochlorite compound. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this video, this unit, partly because we can't find these anywhere, but also because this sodium hypochlorite compound is a base with a pH close to 11 in this concentrated version. Now, if you check out the back of this label, it says that we're going to mix a half a cup of bleach solution, which is this concentrated solution, with a gallon of water. But what if we don't want a gallon of this solution? Because we don't want to waste it. So I'm going to show you how to convert it now, just so we can make a cup of this solution. So now I'm going to go back to my unit conversion strategy from earlier in the year, and I'm going to write on the left side of my problem here that I want 1 cup of dilute bleach solution. And then on the right side, I'm going to write down how many tablespoons of the concentrated bleach would go into that. So I then Googled on the worldwide interweb net what's the conversion is between gallons and cups, and I found that 1 gallon is equal to 16 cups. And then what I did is I used the information on the back of that label that for every 0.5 cups of the concentrated bleach solution, we're going to use 1 gallon of water. Then finally what I'm going to do is use the conversion that I looked up again between tablespoons and cup and find out that 16 tablespoons, abbreviated capital T BLS, is equal to 1 cup. With all these silly US standard conversion factors. So now we can see how we're ready to go. We converted cups of bleach solution into tablespoons of concentrated bleach, and we can do the math, and we see that for every 1 cup of bleach solution, we're going to want 0.5 tablespoons of that concentrated bleach in there. So now that I've done all my prep work and my conversions, figuring things out here, we're ready to get our supplies together and make these disinfecting wipes. Okay, so here I'm going to try and show us how to make some homemade Clorox wipes when we can't find any in the stores. So I got some of this we just had at home. Now you don't need much of this Clorox bleach or just this other chlorine bleach product. So what we're going to do is we are going to get a piece of paper, a normal paper towel. I know this might be hard to come by too right now, but we just had one of these laying around the house. You're going to get a knife with a serrated blade, preferably, and a cutting board. And I'd probably do this outside because you're going to get little flakes of paper towel flying everywhere. So we're going to go outside and we're going to cut this paper towel roll in half. So you're going to end up with something sort of like this now. Okay, now this big one, you could unroll this, which I did my first time, but now I have half of one of those paper towel rolls, or this could be an old toilet paper roll here. And we're going to need to get an empty container that we could maybe put these wipes in. So I had this old little like protein powder can. Something like this size would probably work well. So this paper towel roll is not going to fit inside this container. So I'm going to need to kind of get this paper towel and spool it around this paper towel, or this toilet paper with a half a paper towel roll. And I'm going to sit here and spool this around now. Kind of figure this out, I'm going to get a couple hundred sheets or a bunch of Clorox canisters worth out of 1 paper towel roll and limited bleach here. So I'm just going to kind of keep rolling this up. I wanted to try and get it such that the diameter of this little paper towel will easily fit inside of the container you have. So you could even stop here and notice that this could fit inside of, you know, like a mason jar or something else or whatever you have handy for your container. So maybe getting close to there. And you can see how the paper towel roll, I'm only using a fraction of this, and I actually cut it in half so I have even more than this. Notice how it's kind of spooling up here. I'm not going to worry about that yet. Okay, I'm just going to stop here because this is getting kind of crazy. I'm just going to push this down a little bit to get it more under control. And now I'm going to, it's the important part, I'm going to slide that toilet paper roll out of here. And now I can just throw this inside my container. And before you do so, I want you to try and grab that first sheet that's on the inside and start lifting it up. And now you're going to get that nice, you know, being able to pull out that center part and then tear it away. Okay, now for our solution. I showed you the conversion factors. So I have 2 cups of water here. This is a little more than I might need. And I know that for every 1 cup, I need half a tablespoon of bleach. So with this 2 cups, I would use 1 tablespoon of bleach. And the amount of solution you're going to need kind of depends on the size of that container and how much paper towel you used in there. So I'm going to put my 1 tablespoon of bleach now in my 2 cups of water, because we're trying to stick with that 0.5 tablespoons per cup ratio. I'm going to mix this up a little bit. Okay, now we're going to want these paper towels, they should be absorbing this solution. And you want a little bit excess water in the center here, just so they can stay moist. So I'm just going to pour this solution out right into the center of my I'm going to just use a tiny bit more than a cup for this big. Now, these paper towels are going to absorb this solution. So give this 15-20 minutes and these towels should all be moist, and then you're going to be able to just slide the inner one out. Okay, now I want to revisit some safety considerations before we see these little bleach wipes in action. The concentrated bleach is a base with a pH close to 11, and if we remember from our acid-base properties, bases can be corrosive, just like acids. So if you were to get any of that base on your skin, I would just wash it really thoroughly and get it off there with water, kind of be diluting it down. Second, because we probably don't have lab goggles at home, I'd be a little careful just making your dilute bleach solution and making sure that's not getting in or splashing into your eyes. And if that were to happen, just to flush the eyes out extra thoroughly there. And when you are making and cutting the paper towels, just keep in mind that, you know, knives are sharp, and you want to be careful where your fingers are when you're holding the towel and how you're cutting it with that serrated knife, you know, like that bread knife. And then lastly, I hear about a lot of people bleaching down everything they're purchasing right now. You know, they're bleaching down the boxes they buy, they're bleaching down the apples and bananas. I think the solution would be great if you're trying to disinfect your cell phone or a door handle or a car door possibly, or maybe some sort of box you purchased even. But I would be careful, and I would maybe caution people about bleaching down food items they're eating directly, like apples and bananas, because even if you wash it off, you know, we don't want to be ingesting this bleach solution. So I'd avoid disinfecting food directly. Okay, now I've waited and give it some time for these towels to absorb that solution. Now they should be filled with bleach, these solutions, or with the concoction a little bit. So now we pulled the inner one out later. Now I can pull out that inner one. I can rip off that sheet, and now I can disinfect that surface I'm looking for with a low concentrated but strong enough bleach solution that can kill lots of things. And now we can, you know, let this dry for 5 minutes, And then we should really wash down the surface with water or soap and water, and then let that air dry, and we should have a nice clean surface using our homemade Clorox or our homemade disinfecting wipes.